There's nobody to convince. There's nothing to sell. There is no end result to shoot for. You're it. You're already in the process. You are the process, which is what this is all about. And so we are wrapping up, or we're coming up to the hour and a half mark. I just wanted to say quickly, Nick, that I cannot thank you enough for joining us today for this episode. I've really enjoyed this conversation. I know it took a little while for the manifestation to come through. We've been a bit busy. Things have, had to go through a queue, but it had to happen eventually. And it's funny because as I've watched your content, I had the very same feeling. We're going to have a chat at some point. I'm really glad it happened.
No, definitely. I'm very excited to have this conversation because, like I told my wife, she's like, you're really excited for this podcast, aren't you? I was like, you know why? She was like, I know you don't have a lot of people who you get to talk to and have these conversations with who get what you're saying. I was like, I know. So I'm very excited to have this conversation today.
That's fantastic. I'm really glad to hear that. If you have a chance in November and you can join us for the retreat, we would love to see you. Of course, we're going to be doing these retreats several times per year as we move forward. So if you are busy in November, I know it's short notice, no worries, but do keep it in mind if ever you would like to come and join us and really deep dive on this stuff in person for over a week. That's what the retreat's all about, because like you, this conversation it's a result of the depth that I live, right? People ask me, it's like, don't you ever turn it off? It's like, I wouldn't if I could. This is just a result of where I am. Life is an act of enthusiasm when you're not in the way. And that's pretty much it. So I have very much enjoyed this conversation. I am going to ask you a few more questions before we part here. Specifically, I'd like to ask a little bit more about the project that you're working on with your brother. What would you say is the centerpiece to what you're bringing to people's lives? Or what would you say is the most important insight that you are bringing to your clients' lives? And is it something that our audience could take away from?
Yeah, so I would say, in disclaimer, he would explain it completely differently, just throwing that out there, because he'll listen to this and I know you would say it differently. But for me, it's one that we offer a different perspective without telling you what to do. Like I said before, I was really fortunate that I found Alan Watts. So one thing that I wanted to make sure that we did with anything that we do is we're not telling you what to do. We're just sharing with you a perspective. We just want to plant the seed. We want you to know that the way that you see the world is not absolute.